Well, with every growing second, the Colts' chances of being a playoff team grow greater and greater, especially with the sudden and drastic decline of the Houston Texans. The Colts are not only looking at becoming a potential wild card team, they're looking at potentially becoming a division title for the first time in several years. We're going to cover all that and more, and one key move that the Colts are speculated to make that could take them from this level to the next level, and we're going to cover all that and more on this video. What's going on? It's Elijah from Sports Talk Indy, where we cover all things Colts every single day. And the current number for the Indianapolis Colts as of last Saturday was a 14.9% chance to make the playoffs. And as of today, they had a bye week, so they didn't play today, but their odds almost doubled in the last week, obviously coming off of the win against the Patriots, and then now against just what happened in the entirety of the scope of games today, and that is the Colts now have a 27% chance of being a playoff team and to make a 12% chance to make it past round one. Now, obviously, there's a lot that goes into this, but the chances of them being a higher seed grow ever more as the sudden decline of the Houston Texans, which is something that needs to be documented. I mean, this has been a team that has completely just fallen apart, but as the Colts seem to put things together, the Houston Texans seem to be putting these apart. It could look at like the Colts aren't going to get in as a wild card team. They could potentially get in as a division title and take back the AFC South for the first time in several seasons. But there's one key move that the Colts have been speculated to make, and it's to sign a former All-Pro, a cornerback of all people. And we've talked about this a lot. There's a lot of times that the Colts have been speculated to make moves. They don't make moves. This is one that I think grows ever more possible as the season goes on, and especially as you get closer to big games. It's a perfect time to do it coming off of the bye week. You've evaluated what you got. You look at your injuries, and this is a great time to sign. And the player that the Colts have been highly speculated to sign and seem to have a mutual interest in signing is former Dolphins cornerback Xavien Howard. And you might remember Xavien Howard. He's played his entire career with the Miami Dolphins and is currently sitting on unsigned right now. And there's a lot of times that players like that just sit unsigned, right? I mean, you talk about bad agents, you talk about just the whole scope of possibilities as to why he's not signed. Now, he is a 31-year-old cornerback, but the depth that he adds could add quite a bit to this very, very young defensive backfield that needs experience. More than anything else, they need experience. They got the speed. They've got the physical attributes. They need experience. And currently, right now, the only player on this Colts defense that is actually playing to the degree that you want them to play is Kenny Moore, who's been nothing short of consistent. Now, don't get me wrong. I think the safeties have been playing their minds out right now. Nick Cross is number 2 in the league in tackles, followed by Zaire Franklin. And E.J. Speed is up there with our linebacker room. And Julian Blackmon has, I believe, a career high in interceptions. If not, he's getting up there close to it. So the safety room has been playing very, very well. But this cornerback room, given the starters that we thought we were going to have, which was Dallas Flowers and Juju Brents, now it's a completely different. I mean, this is a completely different cornerback room than we had even at the beginning of the season. Because your outside corners were supposed to be Juju Brents, Dallas Flowers. We were excited about it. We were like, okay, cool. You're not going to sign anyone. That's fine. We're going to rock with these guys. And then Dallas Flowers had a monumental, colossal drop-off. And then Juju Brents, obviously, with a season-ending injury, that he might come back a little sooner, depending on if the Colts are potentially going to be a playoff team, but he might not. And so I think that right now, the Colts have been doing all right with Samuel Womack and Jalen Jones. Womack has been playing. He actually, during the trade deadline, there were several teams interested in signing Samuel Womack, which I think, or trading for Samuel Womack from the Indianapolis Colts. And the Colts said no, they really like this guy. And Chris Ballard, the number one thing he says is, I like this guy. But this addition of Xavien Howard could be something that especially going against this final slew of teams, specifically against the Denver Broncos. I mean, the rest of the games I don't think matter. It all comes down to this one singular week, and that is 7 days from today. I mean, honestly, if this game could have gotten flexed to a Sunday night game, I absolutely think it should have, because of the magnitude of this game. Because for either team, this is a make or break for the division, for the playoff chances. If either of these teams lose, it's basically over. There's no shot that either of these teams come back unless the Colts get the division from the Houston Texans. But to get into from a wild card perspective, because the wild card is stacked. The wild card right now features teams like the wild card is going to be taken up by teams like not the Texans, but the Chargers, the Ravens. You've got to fight the Broncos off. You've got to fight. I mean, the Dolphins are suddenly having a resurgence and coming back. So you're talking about the potential of having to fight off these guys. Those are teams that are more stacked. They're in a win now mode, whereas the Colts are still in a developmental mode. And I've heard it said 1,000 times from comments and from Twitter and whatever, is how many times that are the Colts going to actually, like, they're not going to win the Super Bowl, so what does it matter? It matters. It matters a lot because you want to see progress. I think we're all tired of seeing a mediocre team or a team that shows a lot of promise and then falls apart at the very end. The key, the biggest example of this in recent memory has been this season with Carson Wentz. In 2021, Carson Wentz was playing out of his mind, was on track to be the comeback player of the year. Jonathan Taylor rushed and had 2,000 all-purpose yards. Like, it was an incredible year, and then it just fell apart. Unbelievably, like a bomb out of the sky fell apart. And yet, it was a season that I think all of us thought, oh, we're just a quarterback away. And then the next season, Matt Ryan comes in. The next season, Anthony Richardson comes in, and that falls apart. So I think that it matters not that the Colts could win a Super Bowl this year. And stranger things have happened. Don't get me wrong. There have been crazier things than wild card teams sneaking their way into the Super Bowl. But it matters because it shows progress, and it shows poise, and it shows an example. But this is the spread of Xavien Howard's career statistics. I mean, these are really, really good in comparison. He's 31 years old. He played his entire career so far. Miami, he was drafted in 2016. His career stats: he has 331 tackles, 258 solo tackles. He has 2 sacks, 4 forced fumbles, 5 fumble recoveries. He has 29 interceptions for 254 yards. He has 2 pick sixes for a long of. Sorry, I'm holding a small child who doesn't seem to be very happy with the lights. And then, yeah, I mean, this is a guy who has an incredible resume that would add so much to the Indianapolis Colts and what the Colts are going to be able to do. So I personally think, and this is, again, highly speculated, this report comes from Bleacher Report and ESPN, from Horseshoe Huddle, from Sports Illustrated. So there's several people all focusing on this one guy. And this isn't the first time that one guy has been speculated to go to the Colts. I mean, we all remember Justin Simmons. We all remember Quandre Diggs and all of that, and Jamal Adams, and the whole slew of guys that were projected to go to the Colts, and then they didn't do it. But I truly believe that if they're serious about wanting to be a playoff team and to make it and to actually start seeing progress on this team, they will sign a guy like Xavien Howard or one of the other several guys off of the. I mean, the Lions seem to be signing guys every 6 minutes to replace their injury voids. I think this is something that the Indianapolis Colts are going to have to do, and if not, it's going to signal the end for the Chris Ballard time as an Indianapolis Colts general manager.